the need that each child has in the area that each one of us, is working with them. And then with the general ed teacher, obviously has them for the majority of the day, but it is collaborating with that teacher and having that ongoing conversation and, addressing, okay, we accomplished this, what's the next goal? So that,
Absolutely.
we can
Yeah.
for the student.
You have to consider the stakeholders, all of the stakeholders in the process. Yes. Okay.
Well, I'd like to add that I started seeing in my visits three-way co-teaching. If you remember Nancy and Matt, sometimes, first of all, some of our English learners are dually classified.
Right.
They could have learning disabilities, so by virtue of their placement, they might already be in an inclusion class. So creating an environment in which the special educator, the ESL teacher, and the gen ed teacher can work together is what's also emerging based on your population, your demographics. Then I've also seen this done intentionally where speech language, the speech teacher also works during this kind of ESL period. And I don't want to use the word pushes in, but that's what that district called it, that they push in as well. It really has to be more than pushing in. If you just want to place the speech services inside the classroom, but there's no coordination or collaboration, and that really doesn't make much of a difference. The real value comes from aligning the interventions and being very intentional and purposeful. But it has been done. It is really possible. It's thinking, again, outside the box and going beyond. Okay, moving along.
So the next question, what is the makeup of this group? Example, elementary, middle, and high school.
So the person who wrote it, you were interested in what this group is all about?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see. Where are our elementary teachers? Oh, somebody said that the majority of the teachers are secondary. We were misinformed. Maybe you perceived it that way. Where are the middle school teachers? And where are the high school teachers? All right. Well, we hope that you got, sorry? What happened? Okay. We hope that you felt that there were examples on all three grade levels, elementary, middle school, and high school. We really try to make sure that you have video examples and other examples as well that we shared with you. This went to sleep, so we have to wake it up. Here we go. The next is the overachiever.
Right. So what if every teacher in the school wants to plan and co-teach with the school's only ESL teacher? Depends on the size of the school. How would you answer that?
Can I come and visit you? I'd love to see a school where every single general education teacher would want to be on board. How do you do that? Yes?
What if you maybe only took like 9 weeks? Like this time they go to one first grade class, and then the next 9 weeks they go to another. Third 9 weeks go to another. Fourth 9 weeks go to another.
What you said, what you just created in front of us is a modular approach to co-teaching that I've seen twice. Once in Colorado and once in New Hampshire. And they were very, very successful. So their idea was almost a mini immersion of the partnership that Nancy and I would have for 6 weeks or X number of weeks. I'm there all day long. But by virtue of being fully immersed in that classroom experience and my expertise to be shared with the classroom teacher, and then I could get to learn more about that curriculum rather than the puzzle experience, going from puzzle to puzzle to puzzle. Sometimes you can't do it because of state regulations, so you have to be really mindful, and that's why I wanted my colleagues to help answer these questions so that I don't say anything that doesn't apply to North Carolina. But that's a very original, very out-of-the-box thinking, and if your regulations allow more of a modular, or it was around learning experiences, they designed a unit of study that the ESOL teacher fully supported, but then she left and she worked with another teacher. So if your district or your state is counting minutes like New York State, we count minutes per week. So we could never do this in New York. Yes?
I have another suggestion. Possibly they could create a survey to find out about the teachers and which teachers would match best with the ESL teacher and where would
number of students. One topic we haven't really addressed is clustering too much. So where are your English learners? Are they spread out to every single second grade class, every single third grade class? They are? How many do you have in each class?
I'd say between what, 2 and
There's 20 in, altogether in kindergarten, and I think there's like 4 in each class, but there's 4 kindergarten classes.
Okay, so what I started seeing is that was in the name of equality, the kids were spread out pretty equally. There is a big shift that I'm observing, which is trying to cluster the kids. So instead of going into 4 classrooms, the kids are only going to 2 classrooms. So you're still not creating self-contained ESL classes because you want them to have native speaking peers to interact. What I'm talking about, it's in your book from St. Paul Public Schools. There's a clustering formula. If you go to the index, because I haven't memorized the page numbers. We borrowed it from St. Paul Public Schools, who very meticulously created
147.
147? Okay, 147. Depending on your district's demographics, no more than 30%, unless your district demographics is higher, than going up to 50% of a class. So a class of 24 would have 8 English learners, or up to 12, between 8 to 12. If your numbers are lower, you're not going to have 8 kids. You're going to have 4 kids or 5 kids. But that's a huge culture shift again. Yes?
So, at my school where we SIAP trained the teachers, so there, other than, I think 13 classroom teachers and 2 EC teachers. So the EC teachers and I, and the classroom teachers, we create the class lists. So they're clustered.
Yes.
And then that way we can also go in and I'll work with these students as well.
Yeah.
And some that have dual.
So then you might not have the entire school volunteering if you start telling the teachers, well, you're going to have 8 English learners or 12 English learners in your class. So then that teacher needs special training. You can just put the kids in that class and designate that class to be the class that hosts the English learners.
Well, and oddly enough, the demographics in North Carolina, I tried to make it up before.
It's not happening.
It's coming. It's my phone.
I touched it before and it came back.
The computer?
Yes.
Wow. That's magic. Okay, well, we keep talking.
So, there are some schools in North Carolina where the population is so high that you will have more than 50% in a class because the school is more than 50%.
Okay.
So, yes.
As an administrator in a school, unless you had an extremely proficient teacher, as an administrator, that would be very difficult.
Of course.
But over half of your classes, and then your other classrooms don't have any.
Usually what I see, then the other class has the EC, the exceptional children. So not to overload one class with English learners and students with disabilities. So it's, no? Okay, I'll be quiet, okay.
In our school, and we're right here,
Here,
all
you
of
take
us.
over.
We have, at our school, we combine the ESL learners and the EC learners because we have, because we have so many that there would be no way that we could service all of them. Not to mention, you do have speech and OT and all these other related services that come in. However, the other classrooms do still have ESL learners, but these are the ones that have been, are being served, and so there's tiers.
Transitional, or there's MFLEP kids in the other class, so they're still being monitored or whatnot, but our population is different. I mean, we're over 70% Hispanic in our school, so we have, 4 ESL teachers at our school. It's a need that we have, so I think we're lucky in that respect. However, the teachers that do have those classes have support, and the principal, I was just gonna say that, it takes a simple conversation with your administrator of how it can be effective, but you have to come up with the right game plan and the right information to present to them. It does work. I mean, we are successful with our kids because we can spend more time in the classroom with those teachers and help them through.
And we are
through the process
co-teaching,
of
Well,
learning.
we are co-planning.
That brings us back to my two favorite words. Anytime I'm asked questions about co-teaching or SIAP or other things, my two favorite words are it depends. Because there isn't always a clear and concise, easy answer. It really depends. It depends on your program structure, it depends on your teachers, it depends on the population of your school. Because you could even have certain numbers of English learners, but they may be very unique in their needs. You know, I'm thinking about my days in Charlotte Meck, the great state of Mecklenburg, where we had a high school where if you looked at the overall percentage of English learners in the school, it wasn't necessarily high. But what doesn't show up in that is that 90% of that population were SIFE students, students with interrupted formal education. And so that changed the dynamics of what needed to happen in that school. So just walk through this in your minds as you're processing these questions and these answers and ask yourselves what, have a place to begin the thinking, but then ask what will work for us. Because it depends. It absolutely depends.